There it is. Perfect copy from RHINO. RHINO's High Fidelity series, the latest one. Never mind the BOLLOCKS. Here's the Sex Pistols. I'm only going to say the title once. I don't think it's a nice word. In England here, we don't even know what it means. I know it means steer. It also means something else. You can look that up. So this record was actually banned in the UK, so it has a very infamous history. 1977, ironically the same year that Elvis passed away. I'm going to open it here. We'll talk about it. But right now, I'm very happy with the way it was packaged. The box had bumpers. The RHINO box had bumpers in it. I believe it came through FedEx. Took a while to get here. I got it yesterday. Forgot when I ordered it, but I did order it the same day that it was announced for order. 1977 Warner Brothers Records. So took a long time, but obviously RHINO has stepped up its packaging. We always had problems with packaging, but as far as shipping them quickly, that's not the case. And we're kind of spoiled because I could order a record from Amazon, or even eBay, and through media mail and get the record within 4 or 5 days. This took a little longer, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it after we open it. We'll read what the liner notes have. And here you can see the OB strip. Really beautiful packaging. Colors are very close to, very close, a little more vibrant, but this probably has faded through the years. You have the green back. These are the American. This is my American. And then I have this one, which is I think a first press, and we're going to look at that. But what we'll do is we'll show those at the end, and then obviously after I open it, we talk about it. I'll go back, clean it, and we'll listen to it. So I'm going to open this up now, reveal it here on Tony's LPs Are Us. Really appreciate you stopping in and all that other good stuff. So let's see how we could do this here. I like to keep the shrink intact so I could keep it on inside. But this is, let me put these on. This is a tough one with the glare. So you can see it's a really, like I said, a really beautiful shrink wrap job. I don't know how they do it. This has nothing that I would need to keep, so I'm not going to worry about ripping it. No hype sticker. The OB strip is inside, so but I might, as you can see, you could pull this off. What we're going to do is we're going to get the OB. Well, there it is. Very, very tight shrink wrap. This shrink wrap will last 100 years the way this is on. If you're keeping any sealed for, your ancestors. Not your ancestors, your descendants. Or your heirs, or whatever it's called. So here's the OB. And we have here 180 gram vinyl. Sex Pistols. Here's the Sex Pistols. Cut from original master tapes by Kevin Gray at Coherent. Pressed at Optimal Media. Heavyweight gatefold jacket, which it is. Includes exclusive insert with notes from producer Chris Thomas and limited edition numbered 5,000 copies. And here you have the tracks. So it's a really nice touch that we get. So there it is. Perfect copy. Can't complain. This design, it actually mimics, this design of the lettering actually mimics like a letter you would get from a blackmailer or a terrorist demanding ransom, or taking credit for a terrorist act. So that's what this is. And I talked about it in my announcement of this record coming out. And when I do an AB, I'll do more background on the actual record, because I'm going to listen to this copy and my 2 other copies that I have. And here you have gatefold, which is really, really beautiful. Hold that up for a few seconds, let that soak in. This is number 1917 of 5000. The originals were not a gatefold in the States. I'm not sure about the European theater in the UK, but this is not a gatefold. So this is the typical gatefold that Rhino will do if it's not a gatefold originally. So really nice. It has sleeve credits produced by Chris Thomas, Bill Price. The Sex Pistols are Bill Cook, Steve Jones, Johnny Rotten, and Sid Vicious. And Johnny Rotten I think is on a few tracks on this, but Johnny Rotten was basically the face of the band. His whole attitude, his whole bravado, it's so punk and disgusting. And it says here, add somewhere on dust sleeve. Don't know what that means on the inners, but you have some really nice photos, blurred out, black and white. So let's go to the vinyl. We'll check out the vinyl. Usually you have the black inner sleeve, and these are really tight, so be careful when you pull that out. And this has the Rhino logo on that. And here is the pressing. Really looks stellar. Can't complain right now. The quality control on the Rhino records are great, so this will probably sell out if it hasn't already sold out. I haven't checked it. But then again, if you don't pick one up, what Rhino is doing, they are issuing these same records, same presses, basically without numbers. So this is a numbered. This is under 2,000, so I'm happy to get this. And I did pick up one for a Christmas present. So, but this is mine. Okay, so we have that out of the way. Very nice, Rhino. Thank you. And like I said, the packaging, the shipment package was great. No problems at all on both my copies. Okay, so here we have the tape box. The typical tape box. This is cut at Amigo, non-Dolby Master. From what I remember, this may be a B. This tape may be a B tape, like a copy tape that they use in the States. This says received 10/12/77, Warner Brothers Records. Never mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. Tape speed 15. It has the tracks. The tracks are different on the American versus the UK. I don't have a UK, I don't think. I'm going to go check that out in a minute. I've been busy doing other things, talking about Elvis, talking about the Beatles. I didn't do a lot of research that I remember. I did research earlier, but I have to go back and make some notes. So when I do the A/B comparison, I'll probably post that tomorrow. We'll have some more background on it. But here's the colors. Are those beautiful, very day glowish pink and green. You can see there. That was stellar. Now this record was banned in the UK, not just because of the title, but because of the content. They were pissed off. They were pissed off about what was happening in the UK, in England, to the working class. It was the rich and the working class, or the wealthy and the royal, and the divide was very, very wide. And this was a way of saying, us teenagers, us young guys, us young gals, we're fed up with the status quo. And you could hear it in the lyrics, and we'll go over the lyrics when I get into the the A/B comparison. I will go over the tracks on this in a minute. But here is Chris Thomas on producing the Sex Pistols. I'll read this to you in case you're not going to buy it. You get an opportunity to hear it. I'm always kind of disappointed when I'm looking at a reissue that has liner notes, and I know I'm not going to buy the reissue, because of many factors, especially a lot of the jazz reissues. I just can't. I just don't have the time to listen to everything, and I don't have the can't. How many records can you buy really at these prices? Although these are priced pretty reasonably at $40, plus shipping. So you know what I mean, right? Budgeting is important. So this is from the liner notes. This is Chris Thomas on producing the Sex Pistols. I was asked to produce the Sex Pistols after their first sessions in Wessex Studios, where they were recording Anarchy. Didn't work out. I wanted to use Air Studios, my usual haunt, but it was unavailable. The engineer was Bill Price, whom I knew as one of the best in the country, had moved from Air to Wessex, so it seemed logical to stay in the same studio and work with him. It turned out that Wessex was a very dead studio, so I got PA monitor speakers and fed the snare and bass drum through them, placing them just behind the drums and getting the ambience mics. I'm not sure if it made much difference. On Anarchy, we ended up editing the backing track from 2 different takes since the band were not that tight together. After all, they were quite inexperienced and probably a bit nervous. John was absent for the backing track, so when he came in to add his vocal, it was the first time I met him, an odd situation. We did some vocals and I completed them together. I compiled them together, but we still have more work to do. So we continued at Ramport, the Who studio. The Who, kind of the original punk, right? My generation. That's pretty funny, ironic. The Who studio, where we recorded extra guitar parts and vocal takes. We returned to Wessex to mix, attempting to follow Malcolm McLaren's advice to make this the best record in the world. The only time he offered any instruction. A long mixing session finished in the early hours. The band were asleep upstairs, but John was still in the control room. When we played back the final mix really loud, and I mean really loud, and loud is spelled in capital letters, John explained, "That's our anthem." On Boxing Day, 1976, we went back to Wessex to continue recording, where I learned that Glenn had been sacked, but invited to come along as a session player. Not surprisingly, he failed to show. These were not great musicians, but some of the solos on this record and the attitude is what sold this record. This record charted. This album charted, of course. God Save the Queen was a mega hit, although it was banned in London and in the UK, I guess. We put down the track, just rhythm, guitar, and drums, pretty much first take, no mistakes. It was impossible to know if it was any good, so being a bit stumped, I asked Steve if he would like to have a go at putting a bass part on it. I asked Bill to record everything he played, anticipating that we would have to work on the bass part, pasting bits in. Steve simply echoed his guitar part as an octave below, so Steve played bass, right? It was an absolute eureka moment. The combination was so powerful, so simple. We bashed 3 more songs down, adding the bass and double tracking the rhythm guitar in just a couple hours. We were seriously in first take territory. This is interesting to get into this the minutia of how they recorded. I always thought this was just recorded with the whole guy, the 4 guys live, and not a lot of overdubs. Having an aversion to stereo records with the possibility of a guitar on one side and the bass on the other, i.e. Capital Beatles. I got Steve to double track his guitar, same as in Anarchy, placing one on the left, one on the right, with the bass in the middle. We then used a harmonizer on one of the guitars, placing it on top of the bass to glue everything together. Because of the inherent time delay in the harmonizer, we recorded it at half speed to reduce the delay by half. Right? 1977, these were young guys. So now we had 3 guitars sounding as one, covering 180 degrees, and that was the birth of Mono Deluxe and the template for the entire album. From the very beginning, Steve and Paul would use any spare time to rehearse, just the 2 of them. So they knew what they were doing backwards. Putting the tracks down, following the recipe that was trouble-free. The only song we needed any revision was Holidays, which was chopped up a bit. We moved the guitar solo to a more effective place before meddling various parts and working on the guitar overdubs and vocals. The last song we recorded was Bodies. That's a pretty brutal song. We'll talk about that when we do the A/B comparison. But that's a song basically, that talks about abortions. That was also recorded pretty quickly as everyone was working really well together, having settled into their roles easily by now, apart from Sid. Although John was not quite finalized the lyric, when he put the vocal down, he was singing some takes in the first person and some in the third. So we ended up with, she don't want a baby that looks like that. I don't want a baby that looks like that. So, I don't know. And that was that. After a lot of breaks in between, we finished about 10 months after we started and offered a hint of what might have been, but maybe it was good enough. So, interesting. Was hoping for more. You don't get more. You could always go and read about Chris Thomas. But there you have it. That's the inner with a great box tape. And there's the really stout. What is this jacket from? Optimal. Press at Optimal Media. Heavyweight gatefold jacket. Just a heavyweight gatefold jacket. Don't know. Forgot who pressed it. So here's the original. You could see this is a Warner American. And my other pressing, which I'll pull out. I don't want to drop these. My other pressing is somewhere. Did I lose it? Never mind the bollocks. Where are you? Where are you? That would be this pressing. This I got at EJ Corvettes. This still has shrink. The back is the same, I believe. This has the original inner. The other one doesn't. And the inner matches the gatefold. So that makes sense, right? Okay, and add somewhere on dust sleeve. And that's the same note. And there you could see, which I believe is an original press there, Warner Brothers. So really happy to have this in the archives. And what we'll do is I'll go over those. I'll listen to these a few times. I'm warming up the tubes now, actually. And just since we're here, my other Better Live Than Dead, the Sex Pistols on Restless Records, California. We have the Best of the Sex Pistols live. As you know, the Sex Pistols, Here Are the Sex Pistols, was their only studio record. Well, they didn't last too long. The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, which is a soundtrack, really cool. There is the soundtrack stuff. And this one is a 12-inch 45 type of deal, one EP type of deal. I want to be me, and Anarchy. And this sounds just tremendous. Okay, so there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this. Keep rocking. I really appreciate it. If you can consider subbing to our channel, that would be great. Elvis would be happy. And we're going to talk about the Sex Pistols more, so I hope you like this. Right now, I'm very happy with the pressing visually. Keep rocking. Stay safe. Talk to you soon. Ciao.